Well, an activist judge who's more than willing
Don't say it.
to bend over, grab both ankles, and say, give it to me hard,
Know why you're gay? Because you like Asia.
in his support for violent illegal aliens,
What the fuck?
doubles down.
Are you retarded?
Says they are allowed to appeal their deportations under a 1798 act.
Bullshit?
I'm Jasper Gonzo on this. I would say he's retarded,
That is true.
but he's just being who he is, a liberal.
That is also true.
And it's what's next. What's up, everyone? Jasper Gonzo. What's next? Your daily dose. Common sense, facts, and salt. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Tuesday. Well, I didn't get a chance to do a story about this dude when this news first broke out last week, but I'm playing a little catch up. Remember the activist judge who basically told Trump to go stuff it, to go shove it, basically said to go himself in regards to deporting violent, illegal aliens under under an obscure act, that was passed many moons ago. Well, he's saying that now they can appeal under another act that's just as old. He's doubling down. Well, when you're constantly grabbing your ankles and bending over and saying, give it to me hard without the KY, they're going to give it to you all day long. What does Trump have to say? And here we go. This comes out of Breitbart. Judge Boasberg allows Tren de Agua migrants to appeal alien enemies' deportations. Tren de Agua migrants must be allowed to appeal their deportations order under a 1798 Aliens Enemies Act, Judge James Boasberg ruled on Monday. The ruling is likely to be appealed, of course it will be, because President Donald Trump's deputies said the judiciary has no role in whatsoever when the president invokes the 1798 Act to deport aliens amid an invasion or a predatory incursion of the United States. This is unconstitutional, responded Stephen Miller, the president's deputy chief of staff. We'll hear what Trump has to say in just a bit. The judge's decision did not challenge the 1798 law itself, but argued that migrants can claim that they are not covered under the president's application of the Alien Enemies Act, to Venezuelan members of the Tren de Agua criminal gang. Quote, plaintiffs are likely to secede on an equal fundamental theory before they may be deported, and they are entitled to individualized hearings and to determine whether the act applies to them at all. As the government itself concedes, the awesome power of granted by the act may be brought on to bear those who are in fact alien enemies, quote unquote. The Supreme Court and this circuit, DC Circuit, have long maintained the federal courts are equipped to adjudicate that question that individual threats threaten the detention and removal challenge the designation as such. Because the named plaintiffs dispute that they are members of Tren de Agua, they may not be deported until a court has been able to decide the merits of their challenge. Nor any member of the provisionally surveyed class may be removed until the opportunity to challenge their designation as well. The motion to vacate will thus be denied. Trump's deputies have deported more than 200 Venezuelan migrants under the act detention center in El Salvador. The deported said are members of the violent Tren de Agua criminal gang that they are allowed to entry by Biden's border chief, Alejandro Mayorkas. Yes, that wonderful southern border that allowed 15 million illegals over, well, they allowed them to. Trump and his deputies are pushing hard to prevent the courts from blocking their campaign to roll back President Joe Dimentia's welcome for at least 9 million inadmissible migrants during his 4 year in office. I said 15? Yeah, it's 15. Axios reported March 23rd. Many top legal experts believe that a full-blown constitutional showdown between Trump and the courts is already here. Others are confident there is still room to avoid one. But most agree the administration's battle with the U.S. District Judge James Jeb Boasberg, who last weekend ordered a temporary halt to the administration's deportation of alleged Venezuelan gang members, is a significant escalation. The Justice Department asked Boasberg and another federal judge, U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell, be removed from pending cases, requests that are almost never granted. Trump said the Senate should impeach Boasberg, which drew a rare rebuke from Chief Justice Roberts. Earlier Monday morning, Trump slammed Boasberg on his Truth Social network. The judge is almost conflicted, actually not even close, as a judge whose daughter made millions of dollars representing Biden Harris against me, which is factually true, while her father presided over a fake case against me and refused to recuse himself. He should be disbarred. Crooked Alvin Bragg was a DA in the case. Yes, there's another lovely, wonderful guy from New York for you. They put me in under a gag order so I couldn't talk about it. Miscarriage of justice. Boasberg was nominated by President George W. Bush and a top judge in federal court for D.C. That is a critical job because the court handles many lawsuits relating to government actions and regulations. The 1798 law is one of the many sections in the U.S. immigration law that have fallen into disuse because their original purposes were no longer relevant. For example, new citizens are still required to swear in whether they're Nazi camp guards or members of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Really? Yeah. The law says, whenever there is a declared war between the U.S. and any foreign nation of government or invasion, predatory incursion, or perpetrated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation or government, and the President makes a public proclamation of the event, all natives, citizens, denizens, and subjects to a hostile nation or government being of the age of 14 and upward, who shall be within the United States not actually naturalized, shall be liable and apprehended, restrained, secured, and removed as alien enemies. The President is authorized in such event by his proclamation thereof or by other public act, to direct or conduct to be observed on the part of the United States towards the aliens who become so liable. The manner of the degree and restraint in which they shall be subject to what cases, upon what security their residence shall be permitted, is to provide the removal of those who, not being permitted to reside in the United States, refuse or neglect, therefore, depart thereof, and to establish any regulations for which they are found necessary in the premises and for public safety. Wow, that's a lot to say. Holy cow. Try saying that, I don't know, once?
It doesn't sound like this judge, who the DOJ is arguing with today about the deportation flights. He wants to know why the proclamation was signed in the dark, his words, and why people were rushed onto planes.
Because we want to get criminals out of our country, number one, and I don't know when it was signed because I didn't sign it. Other people handled it. But Marco Rubio's done a great job, and he wanted them out, and we go along with that. We want to get criminals out of our country.
If there was a flight like tonight with these guys, even though it's still being litigated, if there was a flight tonight full of accused gang members and somebody called and said, Mr. President, I know that this is still being adjudicated, but we can get these guys down to El Salvador right now, would you say that that's okay?
I would say that I'd have the Secretary of State handle it because I'm not really involved in that. But the concept
David Trump
of
is
getting
saying yes.
bad people,
absolutely,
murderers, rapists, drug dealers, all of these are really some bad people out of our country. I ran on that. I won on that. I got a margin, you reported it very well. Everybody did. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote. We won everything. And a big part of that was exactly this, getting bad people that shouldn't have been allowed into our country. Biden allowed them in. What they should be asking this judge, this radical left judge, he should
I would blame
be
it on
saying,
dementia, but
why did Biden allow these criminals in our country?
Too easy.
That's what he should be doing.
Remember when Trump came down that escalator, in 2015 and announced his presidency for the United States, Trump 1.0, and says, you know what? We need to keep illegals illegal. What's crossing over the border? Murderers, rapists, bad dudes. And of course, everybody jumped down his throat because of it. How dare you paintbrush an entire ethnicity, group of people, Mexico? How dare you call them rapists and murderers and just, thugs, thieves, and just bad dudes? Well, now we fast forward a decade later. Was Trump wrong? Seriously, was he wrong? 15 million who crossed over the border. They were all good. They were all under asylum. They were all being held against their will from their native countries because they just wanted a better life here in America? No. The overwhelming majority of them are just that. Murderers, rapists, thugs, thieves, and just bad dudes. And Trump called that out. Now Trump 2.0 is carrying that out. And guess what? Be damned the judge. In this case, him. Well, Rubio's doing what he's supposed to do. Kash Patel's doing what he's supposed to do. Of course, Dan Bongino, Deputy Director for FBI, is doing what he is supposed to do. The Border Patrol is doing what they're supposed to do. Get them out of the country. So when you use an obscure act, 1798, Aliens Enemies Act to deport enemies, illegals who are a part of a gang, they're in the agua. No, we can't use it, this judge says, because they deserve their appeal. They deserve their day in court. Well, Trump said, the hell with that. Get them on the plane and get them out of my country. And I totally agree. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please have a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.